Nice. Totally. What's up? Hello. I know. Did you miss me? Right. Get another rock star, you know. I'm sorry. Oh man. Okay. Well, welcome to the new NPCs. Yeah, the NPC. The quest to find other co-hosts.
While on stream. Holy shit. Or at least I have been.
What? Have you seriously?
Oh, I've been recording the whole time and I've been muted on stream. I thought I had us done. That's funny.
Oh man. Oh man.
I'm leaving it. I don't fucking care. That shit's funny. Uh
That's great.
we've been muted the whole time. Well, that's it for me. Bye guys. I'm just gonna roll out of the way here again and leave. Oh god. Well, at least the theme worked out just fine. So
Yeah.
oh man. So that means they didn't catch any of the quips then that I made there.
Oh
They just
man.
heard your part of it because the audio. Fuck me, man. I need I fucking need to go buy that Elgato so that way like I have a joint mute button, joint mute unmute button and everything else that goes with it so I have better control over it. God damn it, man. I am so terrible at this. Oh god.
Shit happens, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Um let's see here. I'm just looking here at the stream right now because we're all live and just making sure everything is okay. Yeah, everything looks good there. So anyway, moving in, I guess, to the meat of the podcast anyway, though, too, is yeah, besides of course not being able to do the stream like I wanted to last week and all the settings in OBS, and obviously I'm terrible at managing the stream anyway because I forgot to unmute myself. Um, uh, my computer has been having troubles, and of course we didn't do the news last night. We did it only an hour or 10 or 15 minutes ago is when we ended, and unfortunately, one of my drives is starting to finally go bad, and the problem is that it looks like what I thought was the drive that was going bad ended up actually being a drive I only just replaced this last year or just added in
Oh
this last
man.
year. Yeah, so like what I thought was the one I was telling you last night, Kyle.
Hmm.
So the what I thought was the original one when I bought the computer off this guy it was a 500 gig C8 drive, and so I thought that was going bad because that means that it's been in the computer since about late 2017, early 2018. Yeah, and I was running out of space on it for installing things and putting games on, so I bought the terabyte drive and was using that to put games on, and it's like yesterday as I'm getting thumbnails set up for the news and as I'm starting to get things built out for as I'm getting things like ready to go, I go to export the thumbnail for the news and everything freezes. Like I can't export anything out at
Oh
all.
man,
I couldn't do anything. Even Task Manager froze. Task Manager
that's
froze,
brutal.
Kyle.
That's
so
brutal.
so I didn't know what to really say on that. Um and I went through a bunch of different like tests on things. I went through a bunch, like I even tried automatic repair, check disk stuff, nothing,
Hmm.
no problems could be found. Again, because I thought it was the 500 gig disk. And of course it happened again tonight, and I saw that it was the terabyte spinny disk, and it was pegged at 100%, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I just did a simple reboot, and then everything was fine again. I don't know. I need my wife, if she's watching this, to allow me to go spend. I don't know, Kyle. What's a good number? What's a good number?
Well, they did just have those Seagate Enterprise drives come out that have 2 arms.
Oh
Now
no no
they're
no
gonna only be
no, Kyle. Hold
available.
on, hold on. No, Kyle. Not just a hard drive. No, not just a hard drive. I
But these are
think.
faster than SSDs.
Okay, as cool as that is, and I'm gonna remember that. What do you think is a good number that I could give, like that I could
Oh
use to
man.
potentially go build a new computer? Let's go that way. So just give me a good number.
To build a new computer?
Yeah, I think I could segue this with a failing hard drive to it being maybe a full computer
Oh
rebuild. What do
man.
you think?
Shoot. I mean, sh- I don't think you're not upgrading the video card, are you? You're keeping the same video card, right?
Hmm. I don't know.
That's a big one. Because
I
I
will
think
keep.
right
I'll
now
keep
you're
my.
you're looking probably at least 2 grand.
Nah, the bonus is that at least most of the stuff that
Well,
it's like
no,
I
no, not necessarily, because you've got all that RAM and stuff. You could reuse some of your parts. You'd be looking at a lot less than that.
almost
I mean, you could.
almost everything in this computer would be reused except the motherboard, the power supply,
Oh,
and the existing processor, and then of course the drives that are failing on me. And so
yeah.
what's
We
funny
we could
is
upgrade you for less than 1,000.
yeah, what's funny is that my wife is currently in chat on here right now, and she called me a dork. Because of the audio issue. And so she says, "Oh Lord, plus you're an adult, buy what you want as long as I get a motorbike." So there's that I have to deal with. And then
Oh, a
now she's yelling
motorbike.
at you. Amy's yelling at you,
Oh,
Kyle, to say stop giving me ideas. So
oh, okay.
so now you're in trouble with my wife. So you better run.
Oh man,
Actually, lucky for you, not here at the house. Um, so
right?
with that, of course, anyway, yeah, it's like with everything freezing up, it's just what sucks is that this is the main rig that does a lot of the stuff for the NPCs anyway, and so it's like I need to have a fallback. So we talked about it before we started streaming the news. Was about buying a NAS as well too, and of course now it's the whole back and forth. And you could buy like what is it, a Synology DS 920 Plus is the one I looked at that has I think 3 or 4 drive bays in it. Set it up for RAID, and backup, and that's only like 900 and some odd dollars after getting all the drives I want. I only want 16 terabytes of backup space. That's all. That's not bad. I think I can
Yeah.
swing that.
Uh, Man, I'm trying to remember, because I think the one that my brother has like 6 drive spots.
Okay.
I think. I think he's got like 64 terabytes right now.
64. Damn. See, I
Yeah,
would like.
something like that. But I mean, he uses it for
I would like
work and
that.
school and stuff,
Mm.
and he's between like 2 different locations. Because sometimes he's out here for a couple months, and then he'll be back in Philly for a couple months. So I mean, it makes sense for him to have, a localized piece of storage for all of his data. So,
No, I
or at
get
least a
that.
backup.
Oh, I get that. I get that. And just it's expensive to try to buy anything off-site, like for hosting purposes and stuff. So it's like I'm not going to
Right.
go spend the money like with Google or Microsoft or something that have off-site storage, because it's like
Well,
I
and
wouldn't use it a lot, at least for
and
like
he he
off-site.
he did pick it up on Prime Day, so I mean he got a really good deal on the NAS, and then I think the drives, because Newegg was doing some sort of like Prime Day competition deal. He got the drives at a pretty decent deal too. So
Right.
It turned out all right. But I think that's really when you have to do it is like Black Friday or like Prime Day to get, you know, a relatively inexpensive consumer level one.
Absolutely. And I'll keep my eye out because I'm sure that I think Prime Day is supposed to be getting moved up this year, and there's of course always
God, I
deals
hope
going on
so.
anyway. So I'll keep an extra eye out on it. But anyway, we're not here to just talk about my computer woes. We're here to talk about video games. And
Yeah.
I have decided to name this episode for some reason because I thought it was just funny off my head for whatever reason. I decided, Kyle, to call this episode "The Village People" because you're still
I
playing
saw
Resident
that.
Evil.
Yeah.
I thought it was the best thing, but obviously you don't see Lady what is it? Dimitrescu is now that I finally like
Yeah.
learned her name. You know,
Dimitrescu.
you don't see her up there with a mod going YMCA. You know, she's not doing the whole dance or anything, but we could work towards that. So, how are things going in Village? And have you pissed your pants yet on anything?
No, honestly, the kind of spookiest part for me was actually the castle. I'm actually like kind of towards the end of the game now. I'm on my way to I want to say I've gotten all the pieces that you have to collect. So I'm kind of on my way to the Heisenberg fight to like the dealing with the last like final boss stuff that I have to do for the game because I've pretty much done everything. I know there was a few things that I missed, but I think I'm actually blocked out of going back to certain locations. It looks like so I don't know if I need to check that. I'm kind of at the point where the longest part for me was actually the castle, and that was actually the spookiest part for me. That being said, and knowing that there's one location that no matter what you do, you can always get away from Dimitrescu, and that being the coffee table in the foyer, you can just run circles around it, and she can never catch you, because I don't know if it was a hitch that they intentionally programmed in there, or what, but uh, I'm probably gonna replay it right after I beat it again.
That's fair enough. You know
I'm
that
enjoying it a lot.
good.
But I think some of the parts that people were like, oh, that's the spookiest for me. It was kind of walking simulator esque for me.
And I've heard a little bit of that from different reviewers and different players so far
Hmm.
too. One of the things
So
I
you
was
know
curious,
exactly
like,
what I'm talking about then.
yeah, and it's getting me prepped for when I can actually go and play the game because I really want to push through all of Mass Effect before I get to that one. But what I'm curious about though is, are you completely out of the castle? Like you're completely done and over with
Oh
the
yeah, for a
castle?
long time now. And when I said that
Okay,
the castle's actually the longest part, like that it everything else has been kind of just a big puzzle to me. Like you go into an area and it's a big puzzle where, you go into the castle and it feels like a small collection of puzzles at least, um, culminating to one big puzzle where, you go into um, Moreau's area and it's a big water puzzle and then a shootout and then it's kind of over.
interesting. I'm surprised that
Yeah.
one would be that quick.
Um, the when you fight the doll that's possessed or whatever, um it's it's like a walking simulator, and there, I mean, there's one spooky bit that's in there, but it didn't really catch me, and I kind of knew what was coming because I was like, oh, there's a locker I can get into right here, and there's a
Hmm.
bed that I have the ability to crawl it under, and I was like, oh, so this is gonna turn into Outlast for this area, and no, it was more walking simulator. They try to emulate the tension of Outlast, but it didn't really do it for me. I probably would have honestly turned it off if it was emulating the tension of Outlast too much because I don't like Outlast.
Well, that's one of those things I brought up at like in one of our discussions several weeks ago was about how Resident Evil 7 and Village have really taken a lot of like a really like hard look at themselves or at least Capcom had before those two games were released. And it's like, these are the games that people are playing horror wise and jump scare wise. And, it's like, we weren't necessarily the founders of it, but we're the people who made games that really focused on a lot of that. And I think because they got themselves so far away from it as things went on, that they had to take that step kind of forward by reviewing what those games were successful at, and then incorporating that into the Resident Evil world, which I think they did. I think they did a really good job, at least adapting to some of it. So I'm not surprised that you would be getting Outlast style vibes from playing, especially Village.
See, and I feel like since 4, Resident Evil has kind of played towards what's popular in mainstream horror at the time. Because I mean, you think about it, even at the time that 5 and 6 came out,
Mm-hmm.
horror at that time was big action zombie movies.
Right.
It was tension in numbers, you know. It's terrifying because there's so many, and that's a lot of bad coming at you, you know. But I it doesn't necessarily set the right sense of horror. I think that was originally intended for Resident Evil. I think it does better as something that creates tension, or just your classic jump scare, even because it does classic jump scares really well still.
And that's good that at least it does. But I think just the overemphasis on the actiony side of things, and maybe the occasional like, oh god, this thing scared me, and then you don't really have anything that phases you that way for a good while, is what was missing out of the formula that has been Resident Evil, at least up until the point of these two games being released. So at least it's good that they're going back to their roots, but learning what has been working for other people now for some time, at least when with what they had been doing.
Right.
But how long, like based on your understanding of playthrough and that, anyways, how long do you think you have left until you're done?
Um, I know I'm right at about 10 hours right now. I think I probably have, because I wander around a lot, and I'll revisit areas even if I don't need to. Like I just bebop around sometimes, and I there are times I'll admit that even with the map, I'll get lost because I don't know, it's almost like the map doesn't seem to translate too well to what's actually on the ground, at least in my mind. But I don't know. I'm probably maybe an hour and a half from the end, if that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least you're not too far off from being done, I suppose, then. From
I
as
might
much.
even be closer than that because the way everything's just kind of building up quicker and quicker and quicker. I'm getting to a point where it's like I walk into a room and I know it's going to be a firefight because I walk into an area and it's like there's a ton of ammo. And if I
Mm-hmm.
walk into the next room, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 firefights that I have to do in that very room. So it's like, oh, maybe there's a lever. So when I run up to the lever, I'm going to have to do a firefight before I pull the lever and then after I pull the lever, because there's going to be enemies that jump down and it starts, an event right then when I walk up to the lever. And I just know that from the amount of ammo. And I think that being said, because I'm also, every time I go through one of those firefights, I'm coming out with just a teensy little bit more ammo. So I think I'm building
Okay.
up to something a little bit bigger at this point. And it's been a minute since I actually fought my previous boss.
Oh, okay. Okay. So,
Man,
okay. And do you feel that the pacing has still been okay through the majority of it? Or do you feel like, again, you're talking walking simulator. So do you feel like that the pacing is fine enough between the action and the actual suspense and the
I do.
horror part? Okay.
I do. I felt like 7. It moved a lot from. It was just like you ease into a boss fight. It's just like you dip one toe and then you get shoved into the tub type thing. And that's every bit of the game. It's like you finish a boss fight and then you get introduced to the boss, and then boom, you're in the fight. And
Wow. Okay.
then you're out. At least that's how 7 was for me until till towards the end. when you go to the ship and whatnot.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe that was just me that felt that way. I don't know.
Okay.
Did you play 7?
No, again,
Oh, okay.
because of my propensity to avoid horror games, at least a good chunk of them, it's one that I haven't touched still. And I guarantee,
See,
like, if I
and
go and do play it, I'm not touching the VR version at all. No, thank you. So,
yeah, just the way it was set up, it almost felt like a series of boss fights. But because of that, it made the tension like really, really good. I don't know. At least for me.
okay. Okay. Well, what else have you been playing then this last week?
Um, Not a whole lot, honestly. I put a lot of time into Village when I got the chance. On
Okay.
one day. Um, Other than that, I played a little bit of Mass Effect, but even putting in, I think maybe another hour and a half, I'm still not off the Citadel. And that's like since the last we talked off podcast. Like a bit. So it was what Wednesday, Thursday. I've maybe put in this week a total of 2 hours, 3 hours, and I'm still not off the Citadel. It's one more mission after another. It's like oh, this person wants me to go talk to this person. Okay, well I'm going that way anyway. So oh, and I get there and there's a firefight, so I can't do the other mission that's there. I got to take care of this firefight and finish the mission, and then I got to go do this other mission, and then I can come back and do the other mission that I was going to do while I was
Right.
at that bar in the first place.
Yeah, and it's one of those unfortunate circumstances is because it's like you're working to build up your party essentially by going around and doing these things here and there. And then there will be, it should be coming up here within probably about the next hour of gameplay or so, just based on guessing where you're at from what you said,
Mhm.
that you will be back on the Normandy and be able uh, to the next location outside the
I
Citadel.
think I'm
You're getting there.
actually if I turn in like one quest, I can do that, I think.
Okay.
But I'm kind of avoiding that because I want to do some of the other stuff that's actually on the Citadel. Because I know I'm in it for 3 games now, and one decision I make on this game could affect me. Not maybe not in Mass Effect 2, but come Mass Effect 3. Oh shit, son.
And yeah, and see, yeah, you got to be careful on that one. But I think more of the side stuff really won't, unless of course it affects your Renegade or Paragon. It's not going to do a lot more there. Like I think someone won't necessarily recognize you per se, but I think it's more so the just Renegade Paragon stuff, and that's it. So if you skip some of it, it won't be the end of the world. I mean, you'd have to
Mhm.
be like truly going down like the path of like Renegade to truly have that impact as you go through the rest of the games. But as far as you're in right
Just be a
now,
total
you've
dick to everyone.
exactly, but you're not in far enough to really start to have that being like the sticking point. I'd say once you hit about the 3/4 mark, if you did everything Paragon, if you did everything on the side of good and wasn't like you weren't a dick to everybody, you wouldn't be able to recover at that point. But as only with the amount of time that you're in right now, you've got a long way to go before your actions really have like major consequences for say like the other two games in regards to your alignment. For local characters, on the other hand, though, you will definitely be a dick. But in the grand scheme of it, though, you won't have that until yeah, at least 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so you're fine there. But yeah, for me in Mass Effect, like because I played that as well this week, outside of doing the once over, which if anybody hasn't seen, that's up of course on YouTube now, talking about all three of the games. But for Mass Effect, I'm now as far in as having that first meeting on the Citadel, being in front talking about Saren. So actually, like discussing what was found and the um, that it's like Saren was the one who did this, at least according to the information and such. And it's a lot of back and
So
forth.
like so a little bit further than me then.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Maybe I just skipped a lot
or
of the
or
side
maybe
stuff because I'm just trying to play it is all.
maybe not. I don't know. So like the mission where you accuse Saren, or do you actually go back with more data?
No, I'm God. I swear to God, that's where I'm at. Like I know I'm on the
Because
Citadel, and I know I went
keep
and
in
talked to
mind,
the
this is
council,
this
but
is technically my first time playing. I mean, I've started it a few times, but I don't remember anything
have
from
you
this
not
game
been in
because
front of the
every
council
time I
then?
got, oh no, I have one time, yeah.
But was Saren there at all?
Only digitally. He was like he came in via intercom or whatever and was just a projection.
But he was actually communicating and talking, right? Like he was actually like
Yeah, to
providing
defend
stuff.
himself, I think so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
if I
That's it.
remember
That's where
right.
I'm at. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at. Yeah.
Okay, so you're I'm probably like, well, once again, I do a bunch of wandering around
Hmm.
senselessly trying to find shit. Because I haven't figured out, can you set waypoints?
Oh God, I
Because
don't
that's one of the hitches
remember.
I'm having
I
is I
honestly
would
don't
really
remember.
love to be able to set a waypoint. But
Yeah, I
I'm
don't immediately
probably
recall.
maybe 2 hours ahead of you, but that's all side quest BS. I mean,
Yeah, and
I'm
don't
pretty
get me
much
wrong.
ready to leave the
I'll
plane or leave the Citadel at this point.
Yeah, and I'll do the exploring around though too. Like a lot of the stuff I've been doing in regards to actual exploring has been looking more at like the landscapes and the lighting effect differences because compared to you, I've actually played through all three. And I'm just trying to get more of like a visual representation of like the legendary edition changes. Because I
Mhm.
know that the base part of the game itself, dialogue, interactions, the story itself hasn't changed. Just a lot of the graphic stuff has changed. So I'm more taking in like what has been adjusted in the game more than doing a lot of the side quest stuff. I'll most likely circle back around to doing what I can, but I will say I'm at least there. I'm one of those, especially back when the first game came out. It took me forever to get to do side stuff anyway, because I was one always for story, so I just go whew, right off and into it. So
Yeah. And I'm one of those guys that I will do literally everything I can up until the point where I just have to leave that area.
fair
Um,
enough.
but uh have you I want to ask though, have you noticed any of the conversations that actually are longer than the elevator rides now?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
Where
it
where
does.
it actually makes you'll take an elevator ride and you'll be like, "Hey, wait a minute. Why is this elevator ride longer than it was on the way down?"
Yeah, it really feels. Yeah, it truly feels like somebody is working on the elevator or something, and they have to slow it down to stay like safe or something. And yeah, the conversation just seems to go on, but it is the same conversations. Your
Yeah.
news reports, you're talking with people. It's the exact same stuff that you expect already. So, but we knew that that was going to happen anyway. I mean, the developers
Yeah.
had already said that that was going to be this. Like, we're not getting rid of the dialogue. We just had to make these tweaks to be able to allow you to listen to the dialogue again because this was built at a time that we needed the extra space to actually or the extra time to load assets in as stuff moved
But
on.
then
That's
again,
what we
some
need.
of the dialogue, the game is so story heavy in the first place. Some of the
True.
dialogue, like if you really want to get into it, like this is the game series is basically a sci-fi book that's playable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they
It is.
really thought out some of the characters and ideas, the groups, and yeah, it's just the whole theology of everything is just tremendous. The scope
Yeah.
of what actually done with the game. Now that I'm
And that's
actually playing it and seeing it.
right. That's why it's as beloved as it is because they created such a decent universe with this. They created such
Hmm.
good ways for things to spin off and to branch out so that way it doesn't feel like you have to follow Commander Shepard for everything. It's like if they wanted to go a different route on stuff, you could probably have something that dealt with the rediscovery of the Citadel, way before humanity was ever flying in space at all, and the development of all these different civilizations coming together to effectively become some sort of united federation and what have you. There's a lot that could also be drummed up and built up on just from that alone because they did do such a good job. So I'm glad that you're able to see that now. I really am.
Yeah, and I mean, just the amount of writing and creativity that went into a project, of that
Right.
scale, and the fact that they had to think about, I they had to have been dreaming it at least 3 games out, for it to work as well as it did, and I don't know, that it's just the insane, the amount of scope, or I guess the scope of everything. Um, just not just, the world building and everything, but just the project size.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I don't know. I don't know how I skipped out on this one. That was really dumb on my behalf, I guess.
oh, well, like I said in the news. I mean, obviously, of course, I miss Time Splitters. That was a game I never played, or game series I never touched in the first place. So so I get it. There are things out there that happen like that. Like, what was it? It took me until the beginning of this year to actually play through and beat Titanfall 2's story mode. And last year was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And those
Right.
games have been out forever. And then even at the beginning of this year, trying out Sea of Thieves, finally. That was something I had never done. And then it's like, because Preston had talked about it a lot too. And it's like, I went and finally played that. So, being behind the times is not just it's not necessarily a unique thing. It all happens with us. But at least it's come out now. And even though you don't have one of the new consoles, your computer is well equipped to actually handle playing something, of this scale. And you at least get to enjoy the quality they put into it. It's not saying that you're missing out on anything, say, from like, 2007 when the game originally came out. Excuse
Right.
me. But exactly, it's you're able to at least, enjoy it. You're not missing any of the fundamentals. That's the key thing.
Right.
Yeah. But so a little bit of Mass Effect for you, a little bit of the Village. I, outside of Mass Effect as well, did some Counter-Strike this week, and we won the first game. It's all been competitive because the guys I'm
I
playing
was
with,
gonna
it just
say
seems like
that
that's all
I
they
saw
want to
you
do.
were on, and it was competitive.
Yeah, it's the guys I play with. They'll only go casual every once in a while, more for like warm up purposes or play deathmatch
Hmm.
just to kind of get their hands moving properly. But yeah, it's been quite honestly competitive. So I did a little bit of deathmatch to warm up before I could join them. And the first game we played together, we won, and then the second one was a tie. But where I got mocked for it by one person, but then everybody else stood up to the other guy there. Um, was that I had a lower kill count and a lower death count as well, but I went back and looked and I carried the bomb way more often in that first game than anybody else did. And so I just played more methodically, that I was just staying back and behind. It's like I didn't want to rush in and get the kills and drop the bomb somewhere at a place that I was going to lose it and nobody was going to be able to get it safely. If we had to re-rotate
Right.
around to say like B or something. So I played
Well, and there's
slower
nothing
and
worse than a guy that has the bomb running out ahead of everyone and going, "Oh, guys, this way."
true. True. Yeah, if you guys are if your team is coordinated enough to do a rush, obviously you want to be towards the middle or the back if you're carrying the bomb. But yeah, you don't want to be that person right up there in the front that's carrying it and then die. And I think I only did that once, like in the second game. But no, I played slower in that. And it's like, I got mocked by one person because it's like, oh man, it's like, look at my kill count. It's like I had like 6 kills at the end of one game or 8 kills, and everybody else had double digits, anywhere from like 14 to 20, I think was what the range was, 14 to 20, 14 to 25 or something like that for everybody else. But it's like you look at the way the ratios go, it's like I didn't die as much though either. So
Right.
so it's like maybe you should hold back and tamp down your ridicule there, as I have carried us to victory with the number of bomb drops I've done. So
Right.
yeah, so there was a lot of fun in that one, at least there. So, but be able to at least win and tie instead of actually losing was fine for me. Losing's not good, so I think I'd much rather stick with winning. Um,
Right.
yeah, but I'm trying to think of some of the other, like, I touch anything else this week though, because I did that one. I did the once over there for Mass Effect. Um, oh, we played some Modern Warfare as well. We
Oh
checked out we
yeah.
checked out some Warzone because for some strange reason everybody's got
The
to do an
two
80s pack.
Johns.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
to
so
check out the two Johns.
yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, the most recent Warzone update included operators you could buy or packs you could buy that are based on John McClane from Die Hard and Rambo from Rambo. That includes the skins or operators actually for Rambo and McClane, but you also get weapon skins that go with them. And from the first Die Hard, Nakatomi Plaza is now in downtown Verdansk. So while we didn't,
Ironically, Rambo and McLean are actual operators. They aren't just operator
yeah,
skins because they have done operator skins previously of characters. Like I know I have what is it, Ridley from Alien
yeah,
as one of
that's
my
right. I forgot
skins.
she was
So
one. But yeah, they
yeah,
are standalone operators. But remember, I showed you that screenshot last night where you could actually see a noticeable discrepancy between the neck and body for John McClane, where the neck actually
yeah.
like doesn't blend in properly, and it looks like they took the body off of another character or another operator and then put the head on there. But what I was curious about though, Kyle, is did you see Rambo's finishing move?
I did not.
So what he does is his finishing move is he pulls out a knife, stabs the guy in the leg, and then jumps off of the guy's other leg or off of his back or something, turns around and then shoots him with one of his explosive arrows.
Oh Jesus Christ!
It's pretty cinematic for even just doing that, but it is pretty cool and it definitely fits the style of Rambo. McClane on the other hand is
Yeah.
putting his hands behind like his head and pulling out the pistol, just being quick and just bam. And it was like simple enough. I think because it was something in a movie. I don't remember.
The executions are almost becoming like Mortal Kombat fatalities at this point.
Almost. I mean, I guess they are really getting there because I remember like the Halloween one last year where you could actually summon like a whole like squadron of crows to go and pick somebody's eyes out or his bats or something for
Yeah.
Halloween. And of course, then there's like sicking the dogs on them though too. So there's a lot of that. But yeah, we had to go check that out. We actually did pretty good there in that first match because it was that first
Ironically,
it
yeah.
was that dog tag collection one where as long as you collected enough you could respawn and unlock different things. But man, that was actually like I gotta say I really like that mode because we did do pretty good there in the beginning. I think we got like
Well,
sixth or fifth place.
well, that first one we got eighth, but
Oh,
then
was it eighth?
we did,
Okay.
yeah, we did kind of poorly, and then we got like a pseudo victory. Granted, we came in third, but you were still alive after I went down, and it got to an extraction. It just happened to be that you couldn't get to the guy before the extraction,
Mm,
but
that's
technically it
right.
counted as a victory for us.
Yep. That's very true. So I mean, it did. Yeah, you can't really argue with that. And I mean, the XP was nice, but I just don't have enough like coins to go and buy the Rambo battle pack or the other the John McClane one. And I
I
would,
I've spent money on
yeah,
packs before, and honestly, I'm done with it at this point. I think at least for this game, it's one of those
the
things. If you're playing it consistently and you want to kind of be a show off, or you want something just for you, then yeah, it's neat. But I mean, when do you see it other than jumping out of a plane or walking on the finding a match screen?
fair
You
enough.
know,
Yeah, it's I
unless
mean
it's
it's
a
a
gun
freemium
skin.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not only the gun skin, but it's also the modifiers that go with the gun though too, the attachments and
This
such that
is
you can
true
also
because
get. So
some of them do actually have boosts in certain areas, whether it be weapon damage, range, accuracy, so on and so forth. So,
yeah, because I am looking for a new Car 98 build, so I may have to go through and see if any of them are
oh
have any
dear.
Car 98 setups and maybe spend some money and then hate myself for paying into a freemium game, but that's whatever down the line. Um, but that's really it on the games part for this week, though, because it's been another one of those weeks again, just to keep going on things, I suppose, and the computer problems holding back on stuff. But uh wrapping up our episode here, of course, we normally bring up a
Hmm.
topic on talking about, and I want to circle back to what we were kind of talking about there in the news. So, the biggest news I think we had this week had to be the Overwatch 2 PvP live stream where the new game director, the development team in that were on there. A couple of them were, and they were talking about the biggest fundamental change to Overwatch, um, really ever. I've got to say it. I mean, I don't count role locking like that because it still leaves you with what it is, but it's reducing the player count to 5 on a team instead of 6.
Mm-hmm.
And what we talked about in the news, Kyle, was really the impact to the professional side of the Overwatch community, those who are playing in that too. So I wanted to circle back around on that because I'm curious to know kind of like what your thoughts are, especially on the future of Overwatch with this type of change. Whether or not it's going to bring more people in because it's going to be easier to follow. Is it going to really detract from the core player base, which would be you and me, from playing it? Is it going to, what do you think it's going to do on that side? Or what it's going to do for Overwatch going forward, because this is what everybody's been used to. And now that you're making it so you can't play as 2 tanks, you can only play as 1 tank. What do you think that's going to do overall? Like, do you think people are going to really leave in Exodus, like, or leave in mass?
Um.
Because I'm going to
Oh,
look up. I'm going to look
sorry,
up. I'm
had a
going to look
yawn
up
there.
like. I'm going to see if I can find any sort of player statistics or anything to show numbers or anything
Honestly,
like who's playing.
I kind of wonder, after sitting here and thinking about it, after talking about it earlier, like 30 minutes ago, like, is it something that's gonna stick? I mean, there were changes being made to Overwatch within a month of it releasing, and I'm talking major changes. We didn't see them on console for like 3 months down the pipeline necessarily, but some of the stuff that started rolling out on PC, a month and a half down the line. So, I mean, this is something that could potentially change. It could be, that they're saying, oh well, tanks are noisy, tanks can be messy, and it just can cause some unfairness on the level if if you're in the proper level and you have the right meta. But I don't know. I guess that's part of the game, but to the same effect, like we could see it change. We could see so much backlash from it that it could change instantly, or we may have that they may make it like more fun, you know. Maybe getting to play the tank is like a reward type thing.
That's a fair argument for it, I suppose. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily maybe make it as like a reward, but it would
Or
feel
everyone gets a turn type thing.
so make everybody or force everybody to play flex and then assign based on that instead. So that way it's like it just randomizes it. It puts it into a lottery to say out of the 5 people you're going to play, like out of all 5 people on the team, we're just going to give it to, let it figure it out itself instead of locking you in, or just like it does now anyway, you pick if you want to play tank, DPS, or support.
I mean,
You pick one of the 3, and
when
then it
you
might
truly think
have
about
the
it,
timer.
the right tank or the right person playing a tank can be devastating no matter what.
True,
Even if they're
very true.
coming up against their weakest characters, they can still be utterly devastating if they know how to use it. Winston for me is difficult to use, or I'm getting more used to him now that I've been playing on PC. But I don't know. I just didn't like getting up close and personal to characters. And I didn't really understand how the inner workings of Winston were. But I don't know. I feel like branching out and changing the meta also gives players the opportunity to play as other players. You get so many people that they want to play one thing all the time. Why? You're shutting off so much of the game by doing that.
True. That's very true as well. Um,
And I understand, especially on the professional level, that's your job, but why would you want to also pigeonhole yourself? Like I said, that doesn't mean you can further your career. The people that go on to become coaches, that go on to become the announcers and stuff, those are the people that can play a good flex, you know, because they know the ins and outs. They know how to call the shots. They know what's going to come next, so they can talk about it as it's happening live. They can coach their team through what the other team's doing, if it's something that they haven't necessarily experienced.
okay.
So,
No, and that's all fair points there to be able to look at. So what I'm trying to do here right now is I'm not ignoring you at all on this call. But what I'm trying to figure out here is I actually found a site here that actually lists out player statistics for different things. So I'm trying to just open up a bunch of tabs on my phone so there's no clickety clackety of the keyboard going on here in the background of the recording, because that's all such a pain in the ass to edit. So I've got tabs opened up here right now to look at player statistics. So current player count in Overwatch is 164,594. I don't know exactly how they get the number here, so take my numbers with a grain of salt, I guess. But in the last 30 days, the average monthly players has been 6 million, or around 6.5 million is what it's been, with a monthly gain from last month of about 318,000. So it's about a 5% gain, with peak players at around 436,000. Excuse me. So try to keep those numbers in mind if you can. I got League of Legends up here right now, which shows a current player count of 572,000 with a last 30 days average of 115 million, with a 2 million loss, or almost 3 million player loss, which is around 2%, but peak players in a day is 11 million. Okay. Let's see. And then, no, that's not it there. Destiny is another good one to look at because a lot of people play that one. Looks like they're not getting proper statistics for that one, so I can't get anything there. Damn it. Let's see. Another popular one. Fortnite. Estimated concurrent players right now is 966,000. With a peak or average monthly player count of 270 million, with a monthly loss of about 4.5 million, but peak players in a day of 31 million. So, using a couple of these very popular games as examples here, at least though, is you can see that the player base of Overwatch is big, but compared to some of these other titles, is not as big as it's not up there like it was. And that's where some of my concern is at, is that for Overwatch in general, is that for the player base you have now, is Overwatch 2 going to be enough to keep them going with this fundamental change to everything? Or is it going to be something that alienates them enough to say, no, this is it. I'm going to stick with the original Overwatch and just play it until they stop supporting it, and that's it.
see, and I'm almost wondering if it's not just going to be like a classic mode that you can select. I'm wondering if it'll go beyond that. Like you can play just like, because I think in arcade mode it's called classic if you want to play 6v6, no rules basically.
Well, your standard rules, but no limit
The
on the
old
characters
standard
you can
rules,
have.
but yeah, no
If you want
limit, no
five
limitation.
Winstons, if you want 5 Winstons and a Lucio, you can have 5 Winstons and a Lucio.
Right,
Absolutely.
right.
But do you think though
But I think
that
beyond that, I think they could do like, what would be just, your current actual mode, like the Overwatch 2 mode and then Overwatch 1 mode. And then you could play your multiplayer from, both types of games with Overwatch 1 mode, 6v6, or you could play all your game modes or whatever with 5v5, maybe minus one or two modes, if those were, specific to being the 5v5.
I just wonder though is that even with that, I mean, we mentioned that part in the news, but I wonder
Hmm.
even with that, do we also run into a problem where you're not able to play something like competitive as an example for like against those in Overwatch 1 if you're playing Overwatch 2? Does it limit the competitive pool to just Overwatch 2 and that's it? So all you get is like say classic quick play that allows you to play with people in Overwatch 1, but competitive wise for competitive, for the story stuff, for push, and for the new quick play, do you only get 5v5? You know, does it limit that because then you're supporting the arcade stuff, of course, is always going to be goofy things no matter what. But now you're supporting all these extra game modes, and it's just more things to continue to develop for. When do they finally stop doing anything like that? You know, or do they limit themselves to say, for Overwatch to work between the two, you're only going to get these couple things, and that's it. Everything else is going to be core Overwatch 2. That's it. You know, do you get kind of where I'm coming from on that?
Well, and the article said that, you know, they did there were things about Overwatch 1 that were going to change, but there were things that they couldn't change from Overwatch 1. So it also makes me think that, you know, if you're playing Overwatch 1 or playing with Overwatch 1 players, maybe that's going to be your 6v6 matches. You know, if you want to play 6v6, it's going to have to be you're playing with Overwatch 1 people. And if you want to play Overwatch 2, you have to play 5v5.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of wondering if that's going to obviously be the delineation, because they're not going to go back and completely rework Overwatch 1 when most of the support over there is
they're
probably
adding
more
all sorts
like
of new
maintenance
stuff
support
to the gameplay anyway, you know.
Well, they are adding new things to the gameplay, and that's a given. But the fundamental side of it is it's going to get to a point where it's just going to be, we're just going to support it to this level. Maintenance, your standard patches, and then your regular rotation of events that they normally do every year anyway. But for Overwatch 2, the meat of the actual development team is going to be going over to that.
Right.
So how long is that going to go on for? And then, you know, effectively they're going to say, like, I don't know how much time they're going to give to say, okay, well, Overwatch 1, we are going to be turning off the servers for at this time, and we're going to move over to everybody needs to be on Overwatch 2 if they want to keep playing this. You know, how much time do you think there's going to be between those? I mean, what did they, like...
4 years, and then they'll cut it off, and then 6 months later they'll release it as Overwatch Classic for $60.
I hate you. I hate you because I know that's true. I hate you because I know that's true. God damn it. They will do that, won't they? On the change side,
yeah, it'll be 4 more years after the launch of Overwatch 2, and then 6 months later, after that 4-year point, they'll be like, oh, no more. And then 6 months later, they'll make the announcement, hey, we've got Overwatch Classic coming out. You can't play your original copy, but you can buy the $60 copy that won't have this specific mode in it. And
we're going to overwrite your copy with this copy, so you can't do anything else with it. God, God. See, you say that, and I know it's true, but fuck, that pisses me off. See, because I already know when Overwatch 2 drops that I've got 3 copies I got to buy. So I'm already out. What is that? $180 for just your standard edition? Because I got to buy one for me.
if not
one
more,
for one kid, I got to buy one for another kid.
Because some developers are actually translating those $70 price tags. If they decide to do a $70 price tag on their game, they're translating it over to everything. So if it's a $70 price tag on PS5, it's going to be on Xbox, it's going to be on Switch, and it's going to be on PC too.
Yeah, the pricing on these games across the board seems to be pretty consistent. So,
which is sad because development costs have not really changed that much in comparison to, you know, the buku profits that a lot of places are showing if you produce a game that can retain playership.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I wanted to at least get your thoughts there on what we had talked about in the news, you know, further, of course, because I think that was one of the biggest things this week. And we're gonna play it. I mean, we're obviously gonna buy Overwatch 2. You know,
Oh
we're gonna
yeah.
play it. We're gonna enjoy it because we like the Overwatch series. We like it, but um, it's just how far things are gonna actually go with the 5v5 and the cross support that they've already been promising since the original announcement, and how long that's going to work for. I guess it's just an amount of time that we have to. Oh, I don't know. I guess it's just time will tell exactly how long they're
Yeah.
going to do it, or they reverse course and say, nope, sorry, that's gone.
What do you think you're most excited about for Overwatch 2?
Push.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like the fact that
The
it's like
grind when
yeah,
you get to the end gate of one side. Oof.
yeah, the
It's going to
fact
be
that it's
intense.
yeah, the fact that it's one robot, not two,
Yeah.
and you're able to you know, you have to hold on next to the robot for a certain amount of time before he starts pushing um, your actual wall there along. But you know, and then the fact even too in the live stream they said that like most of the games that they've played internally have always resulted in being overtime wins. They've never
Yeah.
had one where they've
That's exciting.
stopped. Yeah, oh, agreed. That is definitely very
Because
exciting.
that means you get down to the last couple minutes of the match and it's all grind at that point. You know that, and I think if I had to say there was one more thing I'm excited for is some of those hero skills. Being able to level up your hero, develop them as the character you want them to be. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, but at least based on what we've seen so far in that PvP, like, or at least the information that's come out so far, is it looks like the PvP mode isn't going to be affected by the choices you make, like skill
No,
tree
it
wise or
it
anything.
is
It
just
will
going to
be
be the
story.
story stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be cool to be able to develop a character um to give them the sense of agency that, everyone kind of has wanted.
I just, this is a funny one here before we end. I'm just thinking about it, but I wonder if like hero skins will actually can be applied if you're playing like the story mode. So imagine you're like in a deep, serious story mode or something, and you decide to go with, say, Soldier 76, his and McCree's like summertime skins, where it's
The
McCree
beach day.
as the beat, yeah, the beach day. Where it's basically McCree dressed up as like he's going swimming, so he's got the towel over his shoulder and he's wearing the swim trunks. And then of course you've got Soldier 76 who's dressed up as the dad doing the barbecue. Imagine being in a very serious situation and that's what you have to go. It's like, let's just say
Right.
some far off chance that some Overwatch character actually dies in the game in the story mode, and here comes someone to comfort them, and it's like Winston is the Yeti, comes over to comfort them, and it's just
Or
Winston the
or
Yeti.
even
Or
worse, have you seen the new Junkrat skin?
which one is that? Which one?
It's like he looks like a demon from Candyland.
Yeah. See, imagine that, or imagine like it
Yeah,
was
what was it?
Junkrat.
Junk food Junkrat is
Yeah,
what it
like
is.
the
That
way
would
I
be
see it,
terrifying.
the way I see it being goofy is, did you ever see that, or did you ever play the Telltale Minecraft game or see anything from it?
Uh-uh.
So in Minecraft itself, when you kill a pig, um,
Hmm.
it drops meat. Of course, it drops raw pork that you can go and cook. So in Minecraft story mode, what ends up happening is that the main character has a pet pig, and the pet pig gets hurt from something and dies. But the thing is, though, is that when it keels over, it doesn't just lay there as a corpse. It actually turns into one of those floating raw pork chops
Oh,
that's
geez.
just sitting there. And so it kills me every time I see it, because it's just the floating pork chop like it would be in game. And of course, they didn't do anything. It's like they just kept it the way Minecraft would be. That's just one of those things I wonder, where it's like, okay, maybe like let's just say in the far off chance that Roadhog dies and Junkrat's the one that has to comfort him with his death or whatever, and it's Junkrat in his jester costume or his scarecrow costume, and it's
Right.
and it's Roadhog in his beach, like, what is it, like the shark head or whatever it is. I'm just saying, it's like, just imagine how much of a serious like situation you
Oh,
could be in,
man.
but it's like, just look as goofy as could be. Like, I saw the same thing in Doom Eternal, where I was wearing the unicorn skin, or the unicorn, or the Doomicorn. I was wearing
Doomcorn.
that skin, and I was doing something there, and I think I had killed one of the priests or something like that. And I was wearing that, and of course, it's like it's a super serious thing before you go up and do it, and all you see is just like Doom guy come up in a unicorn set of armor to smash the guy's head in. So there's that.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, I had to end on that one because I thought, yeah. So I'm just hoping, but yeah, Push is definitely the one I'm looking forward to. So, and we'll play a lot of that anyway. But
oh yeah, that's gonna be my new favorite mode. I know.
yeah, but with that, of course, that's honestly it for everything here on the news, or not the news. This isn't the news. What am I talking about? That's everything really, actually, for the podcast. I'm so mixed up. The snooze podcast. I'm tired because of, oh god. But anyway, if you've been listening to us, of course, you actually like what you've been listening to, so please make sure to follow us on your podcast platform of choice. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We're also, of course, on our main page, anchor.fm/the-npcs-podcast. All the platforms we're on are there, so please make sure to go follow us on those. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, just search for the NPCs podcast on Google, and you'll find everything that we're on there. It's the fastest way to do it. Of course, we'll be back next week for the news. We'll be back next week with another podcast episode as well, too. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you guys all next time.
Bye-bye.